Real estate is the world's largest and most imperfect industry in the world. I oftentimes say that the biggest technological jump in real estate over the last 30 years was fax to email. So it's a low bar. And what we're looking to do at Cadre is completely transform real estate and other alternative investments through technology. We're looking to build the world's first digital investment platform for alternative investments. And just by a show of hands, how many people here feel like they have a sense for how to invest in real estate today? Quality real estate, not crap. Just got it. So it's not that many. I could go around and count, but I know people want to get to the bar afterwards. Our mission and vision is to make sure every single hand is up in 5 years in rooms around the world, not just here. And the reason why it's so important is because real estate and other alternative investments are the most important asset classes to own to build multi-generational wealth and frankly to improve your financial future. More than 60% of our global millionaires made their money in some way, shape, or form through real estate. So the challenge becomes access. If only a few people here have no idea about accessing the asset class, how do we expect to truly democratize the ability to create wealth over time? That's what we're looking to do at Cadre. And so what I'll show you here is really a basic overview of our marketplace. On the demand side, we have investors. These are individuals looking to invest in real estate as easy as it would be to buy and sell a stock. On the supply side, we have operating partners and managers. These are folks who look to Cadre to raise money for buildings that they own and manage. And we're in the middle. And what I really want to talk about is not our business as much as it is how we got here and how we plan on scaling to create what we believe would be the most transformational company of our generation. We have been really, really fortunate to have some great traction to date. We've raised more than $135 million in venture capital since I started the company 3 years ago. We've been backed by Andreessen Horowitz, Founders Fund, Coastal Ventures, General Catalyst, Ford Foundation, Goldman Sachs, et cetera. Even more exciting than that, we just opened up our first office outside of New York, here in Toronto. Where's Raj? So Raj, he's back there with the Cadre hoodie. He looks way more techie than me. But Raj is helping spearhead our Toronto office. We've closed more than $1 billion in value in real estate properties on our platform. We have 70 incredible people, some of whom are back in the back row there. And ton of other accomplishments. And we're proud, we're excited. We know that the best is yet to come, as I often tell our company. But I think the lessons that I've learned and that we've learned are really most important to articulate today. We worked really hard in the early days when I was first starting the company to achieve product market fit. And there's really 3 principles that I embodied, that our team's now embodying, that allowed us to achieve product market fit that I'd like to share with everybody here. So whether you're starting a company, building a company, scaling a company, you can leverage these principles and hopefully grow whatever organization you're a part of. So these are the 3 right here. Focus on what you love first. Focus on what you can be great at. And focus on what can be a sustainable, profitable business. The love part is really interesting because 90% plus of companies that get VC funding, quote unquote, fail, right? They don't IPO, they don't deliver liquidity the way the VCs underwrote the deals. So just probability tells you have to be a little irrational and crazy to even venture into the startup world and try to build a company. So how do you navigate the uncertainty when everything's falling apart? You have to have a love for what you're doing. That's the only way to truly navigate uncharted territories and waters. So that's the first point. The second is focus on what you can be great at. What do you have a unique, almost unfair advantage doing? For me and Cadre, it was really about the intersection of tech and real estate domain expertise. We have incredible engineers who came from the Googles of the world, the Squares. We have an incredible investment team from the Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, Valpost, and we've been able to sort of combine those 2 domains where the sum of the parts is greater than any of the individual pieces. And that's been our unfair advantage. And then the third is really sustainability and profitability. I think you'd be shocked at the number of VCs that were blown away when I told them, A, we generate revenue, and B, in the next few years, we see a path to profitability. And I think that's a testament to the fact that so many great ideas, they don't have great unit economics. So there should be some path in the next few years to actually being able to scale and grow your organization, your company, your team, et cetera. And these kind of three core tenets have really been what's allowed Cadre to be a market leader, to achieve product market fit. But they're also important as we think about the next phase of our growth. These opportunities are what allowed us to be the dominant real estate marketplace. Our vision is to be the dominant superstore for alternative investments, private equity, credit, hedge funds. All of these things sound foreign. We want to consumerize them. But to get there, you need more than just sort of these three dynamics. You need to continue to creatively contribute, build ideas, generate new products and features, and never get complacent. And it's really easy when you achieve product market fit, when you're featured in news stories. We recently announced a $250 million partnership with Goldman Sachs, first of its kind. Goldman was one of our competitors. Now they want to partner with us. And I think that that dynamic, right, where you're continuing to innovate and create new business lines is what separates the winners from the losers. If you think about Amazon, right, Amazon started off as an online bookstore. Now they're an online superstore and they're taking over the world, right? But it was because the management team, the leadership there, never got complacent with just being an online bookstore. Same dynamic with Cadre and real estate. We don't want to just provide access to real estate. We want to do it for any illiquid, inaccessible foreign asset. And to do that, you've really got to take an approach strategically that's inside out, not outside in. An inside out strategy means you're your own best competitor. An outside-in strategy means that you're constantly looking around at competition. If we did that, we'd be blinded by the Goldman Sachs, the Morgan Stanleys, the JP Morgans, the Googles, the Facebooks of the world. We know that our strategy is one that's enduring, that's strong, and that resonates with our market. And in fact, if you think about Disney, Walt Disney rarely talked about competition. You think about IBM, Thomas Watson rarely talked about competition. They weren't blind to it. They just knew that their own internal strategy is what would drive enduring value over time. They had those same three principles that I mentioned earlier, and they took it to the next level by making sure they continue to innovate and create. So the last quote I'll leave you with here is from Jim Collins, who's a great management and leadership coach. He's written a lot of really awesome books. And what he says here is the stock market may go up or down, but that isn't the key distinction. Regardless of the market, what matters is whether you are a creator who is internally driven or a reactor who takes cues from the outside. And we wouldn't have started our office in Toronto. I don't think you would have seen the excitement you see here today if you all didn't have that same opportunity. And that's why I love the quotes, because A, it embodies a lot of what I spoke about, but B, it's directly applicable to every single person here, regardless of you're building a company, you're helping scale a company, you're thinking about building a company. If you embody the principles, the values of creating a scalable business with an inside-out approach, the companies, the organizations that you build today will be the great companies that we all look to tomorrow. Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns?
So if I understood you correctly, you want to give the consumer market more exposure to real estate investments. The average person is fairly well exposed to that when they buy a house or have a mortgage or something like that. Why do you think the consumer market needs more exposure?
It's a great question, and I would love to turn that over to my head of product, Andrew Borofsky, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put him on the spot, but he, unless he wants to be on the spot. But it's a really great question. It's one that we've thought about a lot. So it's a great example. Think about owning a home, right? Most professional investors would tell you you should not have all of your portfolio exposure in a certain industry or asset class to one single company, organization, or asset, right? The fact of the matter is most people are actually in a pretty bad position if their only alternative investment is their home. What we're building is a marketplace where you can actually own interests in multiple properties, right? So you can get exposure to SF office or Toronto hospitality or New York retail and build sort of that diversification, which serves definitely as a mitigant to market risks and swings. And so we actually are launching a product that we'll announce relatively soon with that exact focus in mind, which is make sure folks aren't solely exposed to one asset or investment. That's how, frankly, there was a lot of pain right in the 08-09 subprime credit crisis, and ensure that instead they have diversification across properties. And we think, again, that will lead to more people having better financial futures. It'll increase accessibility and hopefully change the world for the better.
So you quickly spoke saying that you guys want to not just limit yourself to real estate in like one slide. What do you mean by that?
Sure. So alternative investments encompass really anything that's like not a stock, anything that's not an equity. So private equity, right? Like owning interests in companies, credit, owning the debt, hedge funds who do trading as well. But even before we go to those bigger industries, within the real asset space, there are a ton of other tangible assets we can expand to. Energy, infrastructure, natural resources, timber and oil. And so the idea is that we want to help people, again, have access to these like foreign asset classes because we don't think they should be foreign and because they are pretty correlated with high returns and low volatility for most people. But just by looking around today and seeing the hands, again, I think is a testament to the opportunity and why our team's pretty excited about unlocking all of the alternative asset classes.
One more question, and then you can ask the Cadre team many more questions at the after party.
Yes.
So I got a question over here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right here.
So you said it's been about 3 years. So I'll start anyway. It's been about 3 years. Are you revenue positive? How long is it before someone in this room can sign up and start getting involved? Are you looking in the short term, midterm, long term?
So yeah, we were revenue positive pretty much day one in terms of generating revenue, net revenue. In this room, I'm sure there's a large subset of folks who can participate today. And when we announce our next product that we'll be launching in the next few months, I think it'll be even more efficient and accessible. It's basically like a bundled portfolio is what we'll be offering people the ability to invest in. But again, the idea today is that we want to really create quality and trust. If you think about like the great brands or companies of our time, what did Apple do really well? What did Amazon do? What did Airbnb? They established trust, right? They established brand equity, quality, and that gave them the ability to distribute and scale and expand outside of their initial core user base. We're doing the same thing right now with a little bit larger investors and operators, but ultimately, we have a pretty big opportunity, which is like the entire global economy.
That's it?
Thank you.